Namaste friends,
Namaste.
I am Anju here and today we are going to talk about motherhood in our society. Recently we celebrated Mother's Day. So modern women in India, the trend has changed. Before they were in the houses and they were content. But nowadays girls are facing lot of issues. They are more focused in their careers. You think so? That careers are more important than motherhood? And they consider success in corporate world rather than motherhood. So to take this discussion further on, I welcome Sandhya Jane to give us little idea about the trend of motherhood in today's society.
Thank you very much. This is the most important topic because the society is basically built by women. Because women, through her motherhood, she is basically developing a man and women and their mind, and then that is how societies are built and then the nations are built. So the women's role as a mother is immense. If we try to understand or we try to see how much it is very difficult to gauge the value of the motherhood. Let me give you one example. This is very favorite example of mine. Shivaji Maharaj, when he was a baby, his father left him with his mother because he has to work with Adil Shahi in Bijapur, and he has guided Zamata, saying that we cannot continue working under the Mughals as a slave. We need to have our own Swaraj, and he has put that thought in his wife Jizamata, and Jizamata carried forward that whole vision of Hindavi Swaraj. The vision of Hindavi Swaraj was carried forward by Jizamata. So for that, she has taken lots of efforts and to ensure that Shivaji Maharaj has correct knowledge and correct sanskar, especially when she has hired Krishnaji Pant to teach him Ramayana, Mahabharata and all the Indian scriptures in order to build the mind, intellect. And then she hired Dadoji Komdev to teach him the sword fighting and other warfare skills. So it's not only that, but she was there continuously guiding him when and what to be done and how particular situation to be approached. Therefore, Shivaji Maharaj at the age of 16, he has basically taken the shapath or the vows that he will build the Hindavi Swaraj. Hindavi Swaraj is nothing but a rule by Hindu people, and this is how she has inspired Shivaji Raje immensely from the birth. And after that, he founded that Hindavi Swaraj or the Maratha Empire, which was further carried forward by his descendants, that is Sambhaji Raje and later Rajaram and his wife Tarabai, and ensured that Mughals were defeated. Tarabai ensured that the Mughals were completely wiped out. And later, from the same concept or the same foundation, the Peshwas carried forward the legacy and built the huge Maratha Empire. Because of that, India still is a Hindu nation. So if one woman decides to do something, she can change the country, she can change the generations, the future of a nation.
So where do we stand right now in motherhood?
This is very same example. I want to basically give you another example. Like when Rama went to exile, so Kaushal gave the values. What is a mother's role? Mother's role is basically give the values to the child. Values in terms of what is our Sanskriti, our culture and our legacy, and our language, that is what we say, mother tongue, and our all the tradition, customs, everything she teaches to both men and women in the house, and that is carried forward. There is a research happened recently. They said in India was ruled by foreigners, the Mughals and the Islamic rules, and then later 200 years by Britishers. But why Indian culture and the tradition survived even after years of basically foreign rule? So the reason they came to know that the women in India, they had the purpose of their life. They carried forward this the tradition and this culture and their customs, and they passed on from generation to generation to generations without break. And that is what happened in the joint family system, and thus the Hinduism survived. Without that, it would be impossible. So what you see today, you should be thankful to all the mothers who have sacrificed their life living in the joint family system, and ensure that the knowledge and the tradition is passed on and we survive. If you see, in spite of this 1,000 years of a foreign rule, we still are a Hindu nation, and we still continue to eat the traditional food. We continue to follow the tradition, the festivals, and our values, etc. So this is the contribution of women, and this is also the contribution of a joint family system which we had.
Absolutely. What about the girls who are very career oriented?
Yes. When girls are career oriented, there is nothing wrong in that. There were women in the ancient time, also in the medieval time, and also in the recent past history. You will see women have played different roles in our society, whether as a administrator or a part of the monarchy or as a part of the government. So they played various roles. So there is nothing wrong in the playing the role, but you have to find out what is your priorities. For example, when you have studied, you have achieved something in your corporate life, but if you decide to have a child, but you also see, am I doing a justice to the new life which I am bringing in the world? So this is equally important. I have seen young girls, they prefer to basically live alone or nuclear family.
But what about the motherhood?
So this is impacting on the motherhood. The reason is, if you have somebody elderly people at home, if you want to focus on the career, go ahead, do it. But then you can't have, you will not be able to do a justice to the child. But in that case, you be prepared to stay in the joint family system where your parents and the parents-in-law are able to stay, and they can give some sanskar to your child. If you are able to do that, somewhere you have to balance the life. You can't expect to have a child and let some third party take care of the child, and you expect that that they will give you the sanskar. No, for them it is their job. For them it is job means giving them a food and putting them to the bed. That's all is their job, or sending them to the school. They can never be replaced by mother or the grandmothers. So if you are interested in focusing on your career and also being a mother, so try adjusting and accommodating your elderly people in the house, so you can do the justice to everyone, to your child, to your husband, to your even the parents-in-law. Correct? So this is very important. One more point I see is the young generations. They go out to do the social service in the NGOs, but they fail to see that there is somebody sick person at a home, and they fail to recognize there's a need to give a helping hand at home to mother or mother-in-law or anything. So they also need a care, they need a support, they need emotional what we call care. So if we recognize these needs and give that support within the family and make one happy family, so that itself is a big part in the society. So this way, if you can construct the happiness in every family, you see the happy society. And if the happy society is there, you will see the happy nation. And elderly people at home is always a blessing because they guide in terms of the values, in terms of indecisive state, in terms of giving the wisdom. So all this is very, very important. So you can have both the things. You can balance your career as well as a motherhood if you find some in-betweens.
So Sandhya ji, what do you think on every step? What is the role of a motherhood on each and every step a girl takes? Once she's educated, then she's married, she's having a child. So we want to know the role in different stages, every steps.
This is very intense question, and there is nothing fixed role per se, because this role will keep changing depending on the situation, depending on the family life, and depending on the number of people in the family. And again, there are various factors are to be considered. The role of the motherhood during each stage, but some basic, I would give guideline which can be considered and which you can explore and see if it is suitable, because this kind of is a very sensitive issue, and it is again depend on the family tradition and the beliefs and many other factors are there. So one part I would say is a garbha sanskar. The child, before the child is born, we do the garbha sanskar so that the child, when he is conceived, he takes a shape and his thought process are developed at a very early stage. That is one part. And how the mother during the pregnancy should think, eat, and behave, or and I wouldn't say behave, but how she should eat, think, and also take rest, and what are the activities she can focus on. The best way to tell is her mother or mother-in-law. The elderly people in the family can guide that. And then the second part is basically when the child is born, there is a tradition that the young mother with the infant baby stays with the mother-in-law or mother, preferably mother, so that during that delicate time, they take care of the baby when the mother is recovering from the childbirth. And this is very important factor because the mother not only care for the child but also they care for the daughter who is going through the difficult stage, and give a nutritious food and take care of the baby, and the baby is awake in the middle of the night, so the mother gets some rest. So this is very important part of the recovery process after the childbirth. And also it is a good emotional support, and learn something about the traditional what we call is a postnatal care. And secondly, when child is like 9-10 months old, they start learning to talk and learning. So there are the various stages is that you teach them how what kind of a food to be given, when to be used, how to develop their speech, how to teach them how to write. All this part is there. Along with that, you also teach them the sanskar in terms of that teaching them mantras, so that the speech is clear. And then you are talking about various values through the various stories like Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and various other stories are there, or Panchatattva stories are there. So that helps the child to understand what is right and what is not, and then make a correct decision at later stage in the life. This is very important. What I see contrarily, that young children are young, especially like 2-3-year-old children are busy with the TV, mothers are busy and the children are busy with the TV, and they watch like a Nobita, Doraemon, where they give back answers to the mother, and then that is where it starts all about. Then you think, oh, the child is not listening to me, but what are you feeding them? That is what basically the reaction. So look at that factor, what you want to teach them, that need to be inculcated at a very early stage.
Absolutely.
And then second part is that by the time child is 5 year old, he absorbs lots of information by observing, by learning directly, indirectly. So you have to basically teach them, hold his hand and teach everything, And mother's role in the life is she care them and give them a nutritious food, give them emotional support, and also give them intellectual and values and the system, and teach them customs, everything. So that child sees how they worship at home, how they eat together at home, what kind of dishes are cooked. So he develops all these things basically during that stage. But after age 10, they are on their own usually. So they learn something from outside. Don't be worried about when they during the pre-teenage or later during the teenage. They may learn something from outside. That is that exploring, which could be contradictory views. Let them explore. But once they finish their studies and all, they start working, they get back to your original the values and the views and the traditions. So they should not feel insecure about the child going out and learning. Let the child explore and bloom on their own. And you do not stop, teaching them. Continue teaching them, irrespective of their views. It could be, you can debate them, you can discuss them, you can accept views, you can deplore if it is required. But have that dialogue continuously, and then let the child understand also that through this discussion what are the things important and matters to them. And later stage, when the child gets he becomes a man or she is a girl, then you are also helping them to advise them what is suitable, because sometimes we don't know what we want, right? So the mother and parents, they may know based on our personality what is suitable. Whether it is the love and all we say, it is just a short period, right? But end of the day, it is all about compatibility marriage. So the parents will talk about what could be the compatible views and compatibility from a particular person, because you will be staying together, right? And let them explore their career, let them explore their life. And by the time you are 50s, you help them during their, during the first or second birth of the children. But once you take care of the child and give them, teach the child the traditional values, but let them live their own, then we call them as a 4 stages in our life. One is Balavastha, then we have is the education, Gurukul, and then we have is a Grahasti, then we have is a Vanaprastha. So that is a time is what we call it, so Vanaprastha, or the going out for a pilgrimage. So that is a time where your daughter or your son is settling down in the life after having their children and all. And when you come back, or when then you retired totally from the family life, let them take the lead. If you understand this process of what is your role and where and how you should basically evolve and what level, so this was well defined in our tradition, then they also get a breathing space. They also get to lead their own life. The reason children are not interested in the joint family, because they find it is too overbearing parents or parents-in-law. So we need to know how to basically create that synergy between the 2-3 generations. And the lastly, I would say, in the motherhood, if you have taken the responsibility of bringing life in this world, please take it seriously and ensure that the child has good values, good life, and also you inculcate the purpose of life. That is what is all about Gita. If we don't teach them to see what is the purpose of life, then they will not be able to focus in the life. They need to discover what is a purpose, but asking them to find a purpose and guiding them, that is also equally important for you. So this is all about your motherhood. So
Thank you. you, Sandhya Jane, for your valuable time
Thank you.
and such a nice answer to motherhood and brief description. Thank you so much.